guys, I'm so happy to be here, and I'm talking about a very cool project that have been leading at Research to the People, which is a very special academic program at Stanford Medicine. Um, uh, who are we? Research to the People at Stanford. It's a patient-focused research program specializing on rare diseases and precision oncology. And the core mission is to bring cutting-edge technology to the patients who need it through decentralized collaboration. I like to say Research to the People was a DeSci group before it was cool. And, it's such an exciting practice because we find that the struggles of rare illness patients are very compelling. These are patients who, usually go through 5 to 10 year struggles just to get a diagnosis, and they really have to become students of their illness in order to succeed and thrive in their treatment. Always joke with my friends that having a rare illness is like getting a master's degree. Um, and uh, and so what we kind of do at Research to the People is we work through the Stanford network when new technologies emerge that have potential to help patients, to kind of bring people together to work on interesting projects. So as Michael mentioned, one of the core illnesses we work with is Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which is particularly compelling as a rare illness because, to be honest, it isn't really that rare. It's estimated that something like 1 in 200 people have some form of Ehlers-Danlos, but because of the kind of particulars of the condition genetically, it can present in very different ways from patient to patient. And so, sort of some of the symptoms you see range from kind of localized stomach pains to, really serious issues with joints and connective tissues, and really like quite a range of other symptomologies. And so, in addition to presenting significant challenges for patients, this provides enormous challenges for doctors. And many doctors will have maybe not even heard of EDS or have any familiarity with, understanding what a EDS patient could be dealing with. And so the thing that we have been working on and really excited about is all of these interesting large language models that you've been hearing about. But there are a lot of pros in applying these to medicines, and a bunch of cons. And so just on this slide, we're kind of talking about how one of the good things is that a lot of rare illness patients have no access to care. So giving them a relatively validated and safe medical expert could really tremendously transform the care journeys for a lot of these patients. It has also been found that when properly tuned, these models are actually able to do really good diagnosis. And in particular, they're able to see around a lot of the blind spots that sort of naturally occur for patients who are seeing, for doctors who are seeing a certain set of patients day to day to day. And so when a patient with something rare comes in, they sort of don't have that context. And then, quite frankly, our healthcare workers are deeply overworked. And so if these models can be built in a safe way that's helpful for patients, and they can take some of the load off of the backs of our physicians, that's very good. But then there are a number of risks and a number of things to be careful of. These models, I don't know if you guys have heard this, but they hallucinate, which means to say they say things that are untrue, but that sound dangerously true, because they do have such a powerful knowledge of the statistics of language. Some people say they're very good bullshit artists, is how it's put. Another big issue, data privacy concerns. Don't know if anyone saw this, but just this week, ChatGPT and OpenAI had to update their terms of service to include a provision that users cannot ask ChatGPT to repeat a single word over and over and over again. Because as it turns out, if you do that, ChatGPT will start spitting up its training set. Kind of a weird little quirk, but that's very dangerous if you do have a model that's trained on medical data with potentially HIPAA or privacy relevant information. And then obviously there's a lot of ethical and legal challenges. So for example, if a model makes a mistake that impacts a patient's health, That's a big issue. Are there any biases that we know there's an enormous amount of bias in our medical system based on demographical uh, details? Is any of that going to be learned by these models? So anyway, we're at this really exciting and pregnant moment where these technologies are poised to really change the way that care happens, but we really do need to figure out how to mitigate these risks. And here's how we're going to do it. We've oh my gosh, you guys, I'm so sorry. I was pulling together these slides kind of last minute and got a misspelling there for stakeholders. But yeah, we're bringing together a big group of contributors from what we look at as three different directions of research to kind of work on this problem. On the machine learning side, our two main partners are Anyscale. It's a company that makes Ray, which is really the unsung open source technology hero of this whole generative AI revolution. And then, of course, Hugging Face, which is the sort of big decentralized and open source model repository, will be contributing compute and mentorship for our teams. On the scientific and medical front, we're based at Stanford Medicine, and we've been really lucky to be working closely with Roche, who has like a really incredible rare disease practice. And then in terms of patient and support communities, I somehow deleted my foundation icons while I was getting the slide deck loaded, but we're so happy to be partnering with the Ehlers-Danlos Foundation, the Hyperphosphatasia Foundation, and then the Human Pangenome Consortium, which is a really cool international group of scientists who are all about increasing the quality of genetic information technology. And so, yeah, we're kind of like bringing these different groups with different perspectives and different ideas about how to build these systems to the table, and then kind of working closely with them to build high quality models. And so, that will happen through what we call the virtuous cycle of machine learning operations. And this is what's so exciting about this moment because building these expert systems is very different than any other type of engineering I've ever done. I tend to think of this way less as a process of building a thing and more a process of extracting knowledge. So to start this cycle, we train a model, and to do this, we work very closely with the physicians to select and curate high quality data. And so this is where I'd say we are right now. We've worked with our mentor physicians and scientists to create what we think is the very best and highest quality data set on our rare illnesses in the world. We will be training models with our training partners and then sort of taking the output of this physician process into an AI, and then working closely with the patients and physicians to test and validate the model quality. And that'll happen through both some automated testing and validation, and also physician and patient in the loop evaluation. So we'll actually be having our network of patients and doctors talk to these models, ask them questions, and then correct and give input into the model quality. These results of this validation will be kind of curated and structured into something that our engineers can work with. And then that will be used to create a completely new training data set and payload that will, hopefully improve on the issues with the previous iterations. And then we start right back out here in the model, training a new model and then validating the new model, and then et cetera, et cetera. So this process will really be kicking off in January, and it will be going on with a series of teams from January to June. And then in June, in person at the Genentech headquarters in San Francisco, we'll all be meeting up to take a look at these models with a mixed group of patients, doctors, and engineers. And we kind of hope that, in addition to creating some models that'll be useful for patients and maybe simplify some patients' journeys, we'll also be kind of creating a glimmer of what might someday become a standard. When it comes to human medical practitioners as opposed to artificial intelligence practitioners, we do have a complex system for certifying that a doctor is a safe person to interact with a patient. We have a system of medical board reviews so that any questionable decisions can be inspected. And quite frankly, we're going to need the same type of structures for evaluating medical AIs and certifying that they're of sufficient quality to be considered medical grade intelligences. Um, so anyway, we're really excited about this project, and we got a website. So if anyone is interested, they can go over to Rare Disease AI Hackathon and sign up to join a team. And like I said, we're looking for people from every field. We're looking for engineers. We're looking for doctors, and quite frankly, we're also looking for patients because this is truly going to be a successful project if and only if what we build works for the patients. So would encourage anyone to go check out this website. And then, I'm just going to express a hope, Michael, that, these BanklessDeSci conferences are going to keep going and going. And maybe, in June or in the fall, I'll be back here to kind of share the results of our labors and, listen to some other incredible talks. So anyway, just so grateful to you guys for having me here, and then happy to answer any questions. But I think that was just about the main things I wanted to cover.